Hello and welcome to the Blue Open Studio tutorial video series. The topic of this video will be remote management. In this video, we will be discussing the properties of the remote management utility, and we will demonstrate how to use the various tools of the remote management. The remote management tool is a utility that can be used to download project files to a target device, and then you're also able to run or stop the project runtime on that device. The actual connection on the target machine is handled by a small program called Remote Agent, and its executable is the ceserver.exe. In addition to the remote management utility, there are two additional tools that can be used remotely. The first is the Remote Database Spy, which is similar to the local database spy in the development. However, this will allow you to modify and view tag values remotely on the target machine. However, in order for the Remote Database Spy to work, the target machine must have the Database Spy execution task enabled, and the remote application must be in runtime. The second tool is the Remote LogWin, or output window. The Remote LogWin module will allow you to connect to the remote target and view and certain status messages similar to how the output window in the Blue Open Studio development does. However, in order to use this, you have to make sure that the TCP/IP server runtime task is started and that the application is in runtime. Before we begin, you'll see that my screen is split into two different views. The view on the left is from our ProFace PS5000 industrial PC, which will be our remote target, and the view on the right is from my development PC. So before we begin and connect from our development PC, I will have to first start up the remote agent on my target. And there are two ways to do it. We could go through first the Start menu, go into ProFace and then Blue Open Studio, and we will see the BOS remote agent here. When we click on it, it will bring up our remote agent. And the second would be to navigate through Windows Explorer to the program directory. And then the bin subfolder inside of there, you'll find an executable called ceserver.exe. And this is the executable for the remote agent. Once we have the remote agent running, you will notice that there is an IP address listed here. And any connected Ethernet controllers in your PC where the remote agent is running, those IP addresses will be listed below. And this is the IP address we will use to connect from our development side. So on our development side here, to access the remote management, you will go up to the menu ribbon, make sure you're on the Home tab, and you'll see the remote management group here. Click on Connect to bring up the remote management dialog. And we have four tabs here on the left: Target, Project, Import, and Embedded License. Target will allow us to configure and connect to our target device. Project will allow us to select a target path on our remote PC to download the application to. Import will allow us to select a project on the remote machine and upload it back to our development side. Embedded license feature is used for certain installations of the software where a license cannot be loaded locally. And this allows you to remotely install a license into a Blue Open Studio application. So we'll go up to Target and we'll enter in our IP address that we see listed on the remote agent. Once I enter in the IP address, I will click Connect. And it comes up with the status here. It says connected to Blue Open Studio 8.0 Service Pack 2, and it gives me the platform information or the operating system. And you will see on the remote agent side under connection status, it says that it is connected to the remote client. So once we're connected, there are several different things that we can do inside of the remote management utility. The first is install system files. So if you had, say, a newer version of the software installed on your development PC, you could load those new system files into the target machine. However, this only works inside of major versions. So for example, if I had 8.0 Service Pack 2 installed here, and on my target machine I only had Service Pack 1 of version 8.0 installed, I could install new system files. If you're going between major versions, for example, 8.0 to 8.1, unfortunately that is not available through the remote management, and you would have to manually install the software on the target machine. Under project, this is where we would be able to select a target path on the remote machine in order to download the currently opened project in our development. We could also select to send specific files. For example, if you had images or a text file or recipe files that you wanted to load onto the system, we could click on send file here, pick that file and download it to the target path we list here. Additionally, we're also able to start and stop the remote runtime on our target machine from here. On the import page, we're able to select a path both on the target machine and our local machine in order to upload a copy of the application to our development. So I will first go to project, and what we're going to do is we are going to load in a testing or demo application onto our target machine in order to test our remote database spy and remote LogWin utilities. So you'll see here on the local path, you'll see the path of the application I currently have opened inside of Blue Open Studio. And for the target, I will browse and select a new path here. Make sure I'm on the C drive, and then I will open the projects folder. Before I continue, I will also open a Windows Explorer on my target machine and browse to that same folder. And you'll see with the remote agent, we also see a log information of what directories it's sending. So what I will do is I will create a new folder, and I'll simply call it TCP/IP demo. And you see, as I create it here, it now is created on our target side. I'll select that directory, click OK. You see now that my target directory has been updated, and I will click download. Also, this checkbox here, once we have the project loaded, if we change something to it, we can check this box to allow us to only send updated or newer files. That way we're not sending the entire application every time. And a message will come up telling us that the product type configured for the application is a specific license. In this case, Blue Open Studio Machine Control. And please make sure that the license installed on the target machine is compatible so that the application can run. And do you want to proceed? I'll click yes. And you saw on both sides, we have a pop-up on our development side with the progress of transferring files. And on the target side, in the log field, you'll see that it is updating what files were downloaded or updated on the target machine. And we see a status here that files were sent successfully. And on my target side here, if I remove a remote agent over, if I go into my TCP/IP demo, you see that I have my files listed here. So now what I can do is I could remotely start the runtime from here by clicking on Run. And it says that the status is the project was started. However, on the target side, it will take a minute before the application actually comes up. And we see that the application is booting up here in the runtime. And you see that it's finalizing, and our application is up. And it is the application we just loaded in. So now with that loaded, what I will do is I will come back here and I will disconnect, and I will open up our training application, which we'll use to establish communication between us and the remote machine. And I will start the runtime. And now with the runtime started, I will come in here to one of my database spy tabs, and I'll bring up my TCP/IP worksheet. And here are the two tags that I want to use to test communication. And once I copy them in, I'll first change my server IP address to 192.168, and then save. So now if I come here and I enter in a value of 55, we see that on my remote or target side, we see the value show up. And if on my remote side I enter in a string value here, we see that it shows up on my development side. So now that we've established connection between the two stations, what I will do is I will go back under connect, and I will enter in the IP address again, and I will connect. See that I've connected. And the important thing to note that this does not stay with the application. This is part of the development. So even if I enter it in here, if I open another application, it's not going to be there. It's going to be something I'm going to have to enter in every time. So once I'm connected here, we've seen how we can download to it. If I wanted to upload, I'd simply come to import. I'd pick my path, and I'll make sure that the remote agent is viewable. I'll pick my path locally. In this case, I will simply select the desktop, and I'll make a new folder. And then I will select the target on the remote machine. Go under projects, and we'll select the TCP/IP demo. And you see that the log on the remote agent shows updates as we were browsing. And then I can click Get from Target. And what it says is warning that the directory that I've selected, any files inside of there will be removed. Do you want to continue? And I will say yes. And you see that it received the files, and the log on the remote agent showed that it was transferring the files. So now if I open Windows Explorer, go to my desktop, we see the TCP/IP demo here, and we have now a copy of our application that is running on the remote machine. I did not have to stop the runtime in order to copy that application over. So now we will take a look at the remote database spy. And to access that, on our development side here, we come up to the Home tab on the menu ribbon, and on the Remote Management, we'll see Database Spy. We click on that, it'll come up with a dialog asking to enter in the IP address of the remote computer. So I'll enter in the IP address and click OK. Now I see it comes up with a window looking similar to the database spy we have on our development side. What we can do here is we can right click again, and just like in our local database spy, select insert tag or expression. What it's doing is it goes out to the remote application and gets a list of the tags. And so, for example, I can select the tags I want to display there. and then I can change the values. For example, as we saw, I put in 999 here in the remote database by. It updated it on our remote application and then updated our development here locally. So this works very similar to our database by inside of our development. Next, we'll look at the remote LogWin or remote output window. And that is in the same location as the database spy, just to the right. So we'll click on that. It will once again come up with the remote computer dialog. As you see, it has the IP address that I've previously entered in. So I can click OK. And now it comes up with the LogWin. And unlike the output window in our development, right-clicking will not allow us to add in our settings or what messages we want to look at. So to do that, we come up to the menu and go to Options, and we can select our insert date and time from here. And then from log, we can select the rest of the options we want to look at. For example, field read write commands, the protocol analyzer, trace messages, and so on. So if I click on TCP IP messages, you'll see here that it's sending one buffered tag to and from the device. So if I came over on my remote application and I change this value, you'll see that it received the tag instead of sending it. Additionally, under log at the very bottom, we can click on tags and then we can add tags in. Once again, it's going out and reading the tags in from our remote runtime. I'll add that tag, and then I will right-click to select all, and then again to delete to clear it out. And then if I come back in here to my remote application and change that value, we see that it says viewer local, and it gives us the tag. Because we are remotely connected to the remote runtime on that target machine, it sees it as a local viewer. I'll snap this to the right, and then I will snap my development to the left. And now if I come here and I set this, we see that now it says the TCP/IP client, and it gives me my IP address, changed it. So even though I'm remotely viewing the messages here, it treats it as if it is on the target machine where the application is running. Additionally here, if we go under options, we see one benefit of using the remote LogWin, and that is save on disk. And we can select if we want to use a date stamp or if we want a custom file name for saving what we output here. And that will save it in real time. So as it is logging or displaying here on the remote LogWin, it will also be saving it to that file. So some additional utilities that are available with the remote management. Up on the group on the home tab, you'll see next to database by and LogWin this tasks. And if you've reviewed our project configuration tutorial video, this is similar to the task for local management. This allows us, when we open it, to start and stop tasks on the remote or target machine. So for example, if we, and I will stop the TCP/IP server runtime here, if we were to attempt to connect with the, let's say the LogWin here, and it'll ask me to check credentials. Connection denied or server not found. And that is because this isn't running. So if you've received that message, you could come here through the remote execution, start that, and then start up your, in this case, remote LogWin. So this feature here allows us to start and stop the tasks remotely. The one thing it doesn't do is allow us to configure what type of startup they have, whether they be automatic or manual. So if this was set to manual, I could start it now, but the next time that the application starts up, it would revert back to having to be manually started. Additionally, we have shortcuts here for downloading or sending project to the target and stopping and starting the runtime remotely. And to disconnect, once we're in here, we'll see that the connect button is highlighted, and that means that we are connected to the remote machine. If we click on that and bring this up, we just simply would come back here, click disconnect, and now we've disconnected from our target machine. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact ProFace America Technical Support by phone at 1-800-289-9266, option 2, or by email, support@profaceamerica.com. You can also visit our website, profaceamerica.com, for drivers, manuals, FAQs, and other product and software information. Thanks again, and have a great day.